Well, here we go again. Hey, it's Cecil, and it's Monday, and it is a whole new year. Look at us go. Against all odds, we have survived. This particular new year fills me with this sort of bleak optimism, like a solemn dedication. No matter what comes next, I'm gonna keep surviving it because my own morbid curiosity needs to see how the story ends. So, we sit here in this little tradition we've created as I try to think of 5 things I can promise without burning myself out or setting myself up for failure. And all the while, I'm also thinking about everything 3 and 5 and 10 years ahead of myself because I am anxious over things that I cannot control and can barely influence. The world feels bleak from an activist standpoint. I burned out nearly immediately last year and then burned my guilt like a two-ended candle until it consumed me. And now, what is there to show for that? For going too hard until I burned out and then wallowing in guilt? What do any of us have to show for it? Other than learning the exact lesson that our elders and activist spaces tried so hard to teach us before we did it. Sometimes we learn lessons by fucking up, even when someone tries so hard to guide us and let us learn by their own mistakes. Because we're young and we're inexperienced and we're reckless and the situations are all so urgent and dire and oh my god, people are dying. But we haven't let go of the fear and the individualism and the sense of urgency sewn into us by this world that seeks to keep us isolated from each other. We cannot do everything alone. We cannot speak to and be educated on every single issue if we still have to sleep and eat. We just can't. We have to put trust in one another that we will all do our part on the things we're able to do. And such is the foundation of community, not in that buzzword abstract concept that was floating around a lot in online leftist but inactive spaces. I mean, literally talking to other human beings and giving them space to be human beings and finding ways that each of us can care about something in a way that leaves no thing uncared for. Finding ways to be stronger together. We will do it. We can do it. I don't mean to preach or wax poetic about revolutionary practices, but coming out of multiple consecutive mental breakdowns, I want to get back to work without destroying myself all over again, and I'm hoping to convince as many of you as possible to join me in whatever way is feasible for your personal situations. So, let's go. Number 1. I will start including audio for all of my peer-reviewed Revolution posts. Some of you may not know what the fuck I'm talking about, so let's back it up. In March or April, somewhere around there, last year, I started publishing a series called Peer Reviewed Revolution over on Substack and WordPress, now available for free on Patreon as well. It's a long-term series, one step at a time, in unpacking things that hurt activism and finding ways to take our revolutionary ideas into revolutionary actions. I'm not a teacher, but I think there's value in fellow students sharing our notes with one another, so that's the motivation behind it. I'd like to share my notes and hear others' thoughts and discuss. Sometimes I will defend my points in more details, and other times I'll concede a point to someone else, and sometimes we just agree to disagree, all with the end goal to further my own, and maybe also your, understanding of some ideas that we were struggling with previously. So far, we finished the series on unpacking white supremacy culture, and we're about to wrap up unpacking evangelicalism on the left. I love how much I've been learning, and I'm glad that some others seem to have also found value in it, but my writing is dense and wordy as hell. So, because I am a professional yapper, in turning it into a sort of like podcast format alongside the writing, I'm hoping to increase the accessibility of it. Number 2, I want to start a monthly Skillshop series on stream and then edit it down onto the lifestyle channel. So, related to the first promise, something I've been trying to get serious about is figuring out what life skills I already have and what life skills I'd like to learn that would benefit both me and my community. The impulse, of course, because of ADHD, is to try and learn and master literally every skill ever. That's not realistic or healthy. So I've got a list of 20 skills that I'd like to at least have a working comprehension of, and I've broken those down into smaller parts. And over the next few years, I'd like to dedicate some stream time working through what I've learned and what I've yet to learn with all of you. We're going to tackle everything from gardening to paper making to how the heck to get oil out of a legume and so much more. Even though I'm not going to put my whole ass into every single thing on the list, there's some things that I'm already decently good at or realistically could get pretty good at. So by sharing with all of you, maybe there's some things that you'll become decently good at. The end goal is to know people in your physical area who have skills that you do not have and to build community with one another so that you can rely on and learn from one another. Basically, if the essays are me working through understanding how to build community, then the skill shops are me holding myself accountable and actually working on doing the things we now understand. Number 3, I'm going to start working towards a marketing degree. I applied to community college after 7 years of not being in school. I'm finally going back thanks to the Michigan Reconnect program, which is a last dollar scholarship program that basically offers free community college for Michiganders who have not yet completed a degree. I chose marketing because that's the one part of freelancing and content creation that I just am not good at. I'm very good at like the comprehension of how marketing works. I get it. But I need to feel more empowered to actually do it. I'm not good at promoting myself, and I'm hoping this will help. It'll be part-time and online because I'm still disabled and still want to do content creation and freelance art, but I'm excited for it. I miss learning, and since the financials are covered, and I'm doing it for me and not like because I want to specifically get into a certain job or field, it doesn't feel like there's a bunch of pressure to keep going if it ends up not being for me or if it just ends up not being feasible because of my health. But I really want to do this and learn more. I felt really stuck for the past few years, like I can't quite break out of this little bubble. So I think it'll be a good experience. I don't know if it'll totally solve my struggles with promoting myself, but it's something I haven't tried yet, so no matter how much or how little, I know there's something to gain and not that much to lose. So I'm looking forward to it. Number 4, I'm going to actually take off the weeks that I have scheduled to take off. You may or may not know this about me, but I don't take days off. Not really. Not until I've burned myself out so badly that I physically cannot do a single thing. I would like to actually take time off before I'm completely burned out. I might stop streaming, but usually there's too much admin work that I've left for myself that I do not come back from the break feeling rested at all. So I'm gonna have to be better about that. My first trial of the year will be the first week of April. If something has to be posted in that week, I want to make sure that it's scheduled far enough in advance to not stress myself out during that week. That way, the only work I'll have to be doing is like art, because then I can listen to a book or a podcast while I'm doing the art, and that still gives my brain a reprieve. But ultimately, eventually, once the heavy duty art that I'm doing for certain projects is stacked up and done, I do want to actually do no work on my time off. My work-life balance sucks, and I'm learning just how much of that is related to the obsessive compulsive personality disorder. I have to find a way to be that isn't just working and forgetting to have a life. And number 5 is that I will ask for help when I need it. This year has already forced me into accepting that mutual aid is mutual and it's okay to need help. And I am blessed to have a community of neighbors and partners and family who support me however they are able to. And as long as I am disabled under capitalism, I will need help. Suffering silently until everything falls apart simply is not an option anymore. If I'm going to be committed as a revolutionary artist, then I have to start practicing what I preach. Otherwise, I'm just a hypocrite up on a high horse that I can't even afford to ride. Growing up lower middle class makes it challenging. There's this innate guilt and hyper awareness that everyone else also has expenses in life. And yet I will jump to help any of them when I'm able to, so I know it's not fair to not give them the opportunity to do the same. Which leads us into the next bit. I've had a Ko-fi for years, but now I also have a Patreon. People are a little more familiar with the Patreon format, so I wanted to add that option for anyone who preferred it. I do get to keep more of the money from Ko-fi than Patreon because Ko-fi doesn't take a fee, so I only have to worry about PayPal's and Stripe's transaction fees, but support is support, and in both places you can follow me for completely free as well. Right now, my monthly income from tiered supporters is $32. My goal is to get up to $110, so about $78 more a month. This is because rent was increased this year, and I want to help shoulder that burden, if possible. Being disabled and a freelancer doesn't really set me up for success in that regard, but I want to try. And that could mean 39 new subscribers at the $2 tier, or 16 at $5, or 8 at $10, or 6 at $15, or if you're feeling really crazy, 3 at the $25 tier. I would not expect that though, because that's bonkers in my brain. It's feasible. I just have to actually promote myself, and to those of you who can help, I need you too. Being a content creator who is small and likely to stay on the smaller side is an inherently crowdfunded endeavor, so anything you can do to support me along the way, be that one-off or repeat, means everything. I don't know what the future holds for any of us, but I'm going to keep coming back here as much as I can, and I hope that you join me for the ride. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below about some of your goals for the year ahead. I know we are a month in, but it's never too late to set a goal, and you can follow me in the links in the description box below, including my Ko-fi and Patreon, which both have free options. So if you want to get some more frequent updates from me, if you would like, you know. And if you have not done so yet, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.